Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Jog video. It's your man Jake, aka America's Next Top Commie. You're watching gameplay while listening to my beautiful, or maybe not so beautiful voice, rant about any kind of topic. In this video, I'm going to be explaining why American exceptionalism is a lie, the reason for its falsity, and what we might be able to do going forward. Let's just jump right in. As I said, American exceptionalism is a lie. It isn't real, and it's easily one of the most damaging forces on the planet. To my fellow Americans, what originally seemed like some kind of patriotic value of pride is nothing short of nationalist supremacist mindset, lost in the good intention of the average, albeit horribly misguided American. What is it exactly that makes us so exceptional? High infant mortality rate, belief in angels, inefficient transportation systems, and financially insolvent planning? America continues to have one of the lowest social mobility ladders, especially when compared to our European counterparts, and this isn't even considering nations like China, who is frankly the most successful and dominant world power right now. The United States' evil empire is waning. Meanwhile, China is primarily responsible for eliminating an unprecedented portion of world poverty. American small business bankruptcy occurs in the thousands, and that's just small business. Dead children in mass shootings, sexual harassment rates in workforces, business places, and of course the police, revocation of women's bodily autonomy, addiction, homelessness, suicide rates are all increasing. A crippling specter of disconnection and loneliness hangs over the populace. What makes America great is tangibly very little. American exceptionalism gives Americans an excuse to see and consider themselves as different, when of course we're just like everybody else. These excuses spawn from this nationalist ideology, justify our imperial actions, invasions, incursions, and atrocities around the globe. America's concept of manifest destiny, the wars, the operations, the oppression, and imperialism America carries out in the past and now are all derived from this absurd nationalistic belief. You know, I'm tempted to cue up that viral scene from the show Newsroom. It's one of the first scenes in the show where Jeff Daniels gives like the speech claiming America used to be about something and fighting wars for moral reasons instead of financial ones or something. I don't know. I'm not going to put it in the video because it's neoliberal BS and there's no need to criticize Aaron Sorkin's dialogue in this video, at least right now. But I felt it's pretty pressing, pretty reminiscent of what's going on in this issue. This is America, land of the free and home of the brave, baby. Only country in the world to have a Pledge of Allegiance. There's a deep-seated belief embedded in every average American psyche. This kind of toxic idealism allows all kinds of atrocities. Horrific, terrifying, dehumanizing, simply evil things have been done in the name of American exceptionalism. This is not a positive force for the world. How can we realistically claim validity to American exceptionalism if our impact on the world is nothing short of horrific? This delusion, what we Americans are somehow, fundamentally different, blinds us to the reality of this non-existent phenomenon. It prevents us from dealing with our problems with clear eyes and minds. It shields us from the reality of our inadequacies. Americans are hell-bent on masking their embarrassing nationalist insecurities behind this absurd idea. You would not believe the childlike shrieking and cheering I have seen. I used to work at an outdoor movie theater, and we would have this hyper-patriotic reel included in the preview footage before the movie started. And I gotta say, the amount of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men, women too, but most notably men, just cheering and shouting and screaming, "Fuck yeah, America," or some shit. It's just super creepy and weird. If I remember correctly, it was the national anthem being sung, and there would legit just be legions of white dads in their inappropriately massive trucks shouting vociferously at these vague images of the American flag flying, and maybe some fireworks or whatever. Even when I was a cringy edgelord Trump apologist back then, I always found these weird orgies of displaying patriotism so disturbing. And yeah, that chapter of being a cringy edgelord Trump apologist will be a video for another day, but that also happened as well. I have another example of American blindness, which is far more common and popular, but also unpopular. When I speak of with leftist sympathetic individuals, after a casual back and forth about something communist or socialist related, spreading the info and all that, they'll say to me, if only there was a way to name it something else, if only we just didn't refer to it as communism, then Americans wouldn't be so scared of leftists. At face value, this seems true, but a closer look reveals this will only further deceive said Americans and inexorably dock points against leftists. This may become a justification for viewing us as shifty and dishonest. We must consequently embrace dialectical materialism, historical materialism, and a socialist structure of the world. We are more than welcome to revolutionize these tools, but we must understand them unquestionably if we are to claim some socialism with American characteristics or something like that. I'm more open to this idea that I'm suggesting, and I may make more content in the future related to this, but this seems to be a better idea in the right direction rather than kind of, addicted to this American exceptionalist idea. So the question is then, what can we do, right? It's easy to feel overwhelmed, downtrodden, defeated even, when facing just how dominating the state capitalist world order can be. I'm reminded of that scene at the end of the 2011 Captain America movie where after he wakes up from his deep sleep and he runs out from where he's being held, he runs out into Times Square in the modern day, and the camera has that 360 spinning shot of him just going and spinning and looking at Times Square and all the flashy imagery and things, and overwhelmed at all the screens and flashy skyscrapers and lights and such. Captain America has a sus image at best in the American comic mythology or whatever, but all this doesn't matter right now. Right now in history, we are in a kind of precursor cyberpunk era, with our societal toes dipping more and more into true futurism by the day. In my opinion, this can actually be used for a good thing. In my view, the viability of a working class revolution only grows stronger day after day. Why is this the case? My justification comes from several different reasons. The first reason is technology and the age of information. While the spread of misinformation is a very real problem, the natural truth and reality of things more often than not comes to light. Even with excessive corporate discretion filtering and censoring comments from all kinds of platforms, in my view, from my observations, the public's critical thinking abilities are only getting stronger. At first glance, it may seem like the American left is even more mistaken than it once seemed. However, I would argue many anti-capitalist groups discovering the ignorance of individuals like Bernie Sanders shows the health of American leftist power improving, and the constant online communication and discussions, often in response to significant historical events happening every week or even every day, only further helps this even more. Another reason not to be so defeated stems from the obvious signs of a collapsing empire. America is indeed beginning to recede in irreparable ways, and the naive belief that we can outlive a collapse from within is pure historical illiteracy. The country is becoming ripe not just for the end of a nation, but also for a revolution, and the beginning of what we all desire and deserve. If there's a way to strategically hastening the collapsing tools of empire, in a way that is not accelerationist in the fascist sense, but accelerationist in the anti-capitalist sense, then that would also further assist the necessary degradation of this horrible and imperial nation-state. Yet another reason to consider not feeling so defeated is national solidarity. Despite the appearance of rampant division, America is a lot more united than it seems. Consumer individualism has nested itself into one of the last pillars holding up the success of working class divides. But this is only dying more and more as well, with nations like China, for example, producing more and more exported goods while also offering itself as an alternative world economic power for loans and such to nations all around the world who would have otherwise been subject to the whims of America, and other Western nations for that matter too. People here in the nation are united. The brutal murder of George Floyd and the continued police brutality Black Americans face showed national outrage as more pronounced than first appearance. Even with a cop city and 100,000 added police units added by Biden in 2021, there will always be way too many of us, and nowhere near close to enough of them. If you want another reason, I'll remind you that people are healing in general. People are more tolerant, more patient, more compassionate. Even considering just how effing draining modern life has become, many Americans have become a lot more open-minded as well. And this is just a taste of growing working class power in the States. If you couldn't tell already, I consider myself quite optimistic for our cause. Looking at these phenomena, we can see that the U.S. state capitalist hegemony simply doesn't stand a chance against the power of the rest of the world. American exceptionalism is one of the last lines of defense keeping Americans submerged in the pools of illusion. These American state capitalists thrive on the misery and despair of us all. They benefit from our bizarre dystopian poverty. And if there's any part of you filled with indignation and righteous rage, then let that fuel you. Let that make you whole, as you should be outraged at this horrific, draconian, tyrannical conditions these wealth barons have created. To not be outraged is to be out of touch. The richest of the richest people own and control a massive underground child rape and trafficking ring. These people take everything and let your family and friends rot. They boast how they can solve world poverty, but then when held accountable, only pull out at the last second. These people are not the solution. They're not heroes, they're not job creators, they're not inventors or geniuses, they're children with way too much power. Any person who seeks to make that much money and endlessly acquire more and more and more is a glorified child in an adult body. We don't need this. We deserve better than this, and we don't have to tolerate this. These conditions are unacceptable, and we've become more well-equipped than ever to beat these bastards. The fires of revolution rise. What say you? And with that said, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. If it's not too much to ask, please like and subscribe if you can. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one, comrades. Peace, love, and for the revolution.